All right, class, I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there today. I totally forgot I had a dentist appointment. And so I'm going to go through some examples with you. So I want you to make sure that you take out some scratch paper. You do it with me. We're going to go back over solving systems of equations by substitution because I know that by the end of class time, last time I saw you, we weren't quite where we needed to be. Okay, so get out your line paper, and at the top of it, we're going to write solve systems of equations using substitution. And we're going to start off easy, and then we're going to work our way up to the harder problems. Okay? So for problem 1, we are going to say y equals negative 5 and 5x plus 4y is equal to negative 20. So this is a system of 2 equations. We are going to solve it using substitution. So we have 2 equations here. We get to pick whichever equation we want, and we get to solve for whichever variable x or y we want. And so looking at this, hopefully you can see that the top equation would be a lot easier because it has less, and it's already solved for a variable y equals negative 5. So I'm going to take that negative 5 and I'm going to plug it into the other equation where I see y. So that gives me 5x plus 4 times y, which is negative 5. So instead of writing y, I write negative 5 equals negative 20. Then from here I can solve it. So 5x plus 4 times negative 5 is negative 20 equals negative 20. To get rid of the negative 20, I need to add 20. That leaves me with 5x is equal to 0. Divide both sides by 5, and I get x is equal to 0. Okay, now I would plug this into the top equation, but yet there is no x there because we already know that y equals negative 5. So my final answer I write as an ordered pair. The x coordinate is 0, and the y coordinate is negative 5. So there's my final answer. Okay, so what I want you guys to do next is we're going to put this into slope-intercept form, the bottom equation. So 5x plus 4y equal to negative 20. I want to get this into y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to go ahead and minus the 5x from both sides. That leaves me with 4y is equal to negative 5x minus 20. I can't combine the 5x and the 20 because they're not like terms. Then I'm going to divide by 4 here, divide by 4 here. Now, when you're dividing by 4, you have to be careful because the 4 is going to be divided by both terms there. So I'm going to be left with the 4 over 4 is just 1. So y equals negative 5 fourths x minus 5. Just like that. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to get your graphing calculator. I want you to go to y equals, and we're going to put in this equation, y equals negative 5 fourths x minus 5, and then y equals negative 5 into the second equation. Okay, now make sure that we use negatives where I'm supposed to use a negative and a minus where there's a minus. Otherwise, you're going to get a syntax error. Remember that if you get a window error, you just need to do zoom 6 and it'll take you to the standard window. So those are the 2 errors you might see if you don't get the graph. Okay, so syntax error means that you either maybe forgot an X. I saw yesterday somebody do a plus plus. So they had like a double addition sign. So it just means that you put something in wrong. Okay, and then if it says a domain error, then you just need to click zoom 6 or make sure that your scatter plot is turned off. Okay, so hopefully most of you can get this. Go ahead, pause the video, and graph these 2 lines. And then what you'll see when you graph it, so let me clear off some of this stuff real quick. Okay, so when I graph this, y equals negative 5 is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, it's a line right here at y equals negative 5. And then for my y equals negative 5/4 x, I'm going to start at negative 5. And then I need to go down 5 into the right 4. Or in this case, I'm going to go up 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. And I still have my negative slope. So my graph looks like this. Okay, so when you graph this on your graphing calculator, it should look like this. And right here is the intersection of 0, negative 5, which is the answer that we got. Okay, so this is solving by substitution to give us the 0, negative 5. And then if I put them both in y equals mx plus b form, then I'm able to look at the graph and see, yes, that's the solution. They intersect at 0, negative 5. Okay? So go ahead and pause this if you need to catch up. And then we are going to do the next problem. Okay, number 2. Y equals x plus 2 and x equals negative 3. This is a system of 2 equations, and we're going to solve it by substitution. So I have 2 equations. I can pick whichever equation I want, and I can solve for whichever variable I want. So hopefully you can see here, your best option is the bottom one, and we already know that x equals negative 3. So I can take this negative 3, and I can put it right into that equation above. And so that gives me y equals negative 3 plus 2. Do the math and you get y equals negative 1. Okay, now I would take this negative 1 and I would put it back into this equation, but there is no y there because I already know what x is. X is equal to negative 3, so my answer is negative 3, negative 1. Now my top equation is already in the form of y equals mx plus b. So if I were to graph this, I would start at the y-intercept 2. And then from here, my slope is 1. Okay, so I'll break this down just in case if you need it. So y equals x plus 2. My m is 1 right here. And then my b is 2, which is my y-intercept. If you want me to sing y equals mx plus b, it's called slope-intercept. Yeah, okay, I'll stop. So put the 2 here. Then I'm going to go up 1 over 1 for my slope. Up 1 over 1. There I go. And so my graph is going to look something like this. Then I can graph x equals negative 3. That means I go to negative 3 on my x-axis. And let's see. It's not going to be very perfect because I am not a computer. So go to x equals negative 3. I'm going to have a dot right here. Then I'm going to have my line come through. And we should have an intersection right here at negative 3, negative 1, which kind of looks like I do. If you do it on a graphing calculator, it'll be perfect. Okay, so that's a way to check our answer. Negative 3, negative 1 is a solution to this system of equations. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this, but pause it if you need to catch everybody up. And let's do problem number 3. Okay, number 3. 4x minus 9 equals y, and y equals x minus 3. Okay, this is a system of 2 equations, and we are going to solve it using substitution. You can see here I have 2 equations, and I can pick whichever equation I want, and I can choose whichever variable x or y I want to solve for. So think to yourself, what would you choose? Now, I hope that you said or you thought y has already been solved for. I know that it is equal to x minus 3, so I can just take that and plug it into the y in the top equation. So that gives me 4x minus 9 equals, instead of putting y, I'm going to put x minus 3, because that's what y equals. Then from here, I can solve for x. So 4x minus 9 on the left side is equal to x minus 3 on the right side. I need to move my variables to one side and my numbers to the other. So I'm going to add 9. And that makes this 0 because negative 9 plus 9 is 0. And then I have negative 3 plus 9, that is a positive 6. Then I still have the x equals and the 4x. Now, since I have x's on both sides, I want to get them to one side. So I'm going to get rid of this x by subtracting it. If I have x subtract x, that makes a 0. And if I have to subtract it from the other side. So 4x minus x is 3x is equal to 6. From here I can divide by 3 and I get x equals 3. Now I'm going to take this x equals 3 and I'm going to plug it into that equation. And this one does have an x. So I'm going to get y is equal to 3 minus 3. I plug in the 3 for x, which gives me 0. Which means that my solution to this system of equations is 3 because that's my x coordinate, 0 because that's my y coordinate. And that's the final answer. Oh crap, I just made a mistake. Did you guys catch it? I hope so. 6 divided by 3 is 2. That's embarrassing. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So then I plug in the 2. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. And then you get 3 negative 1 for our final answer. See, I was just trying to see who was paying attention. If you got that, congratulations. You're amazing. Okay, so 3 negative 1 is my answer. Now, I can check it on a graphing calculator to double check. And if you would have done that, you would have caught it too. Okay, so this is problem number 3. Okay, I'm going to erase it. So if you need it longer, push pause. And we're going to go on to number 4. And these problems are going to get a little bit harder each time, just to make sure that you're getting it as we go. Okay, so here we are on number 4. Number 4 is 4x plus 2y is equal to 10, and x minus y is equal to 13. Here I have a system of 2 equations, and I can pick whichever equation I want, and I can solve for whichever variable I want. And if you notice at the start of every single problem, I say the exact same thing, and I recommend that you do. Maybe you'll hear the sound of my voice in your head when you see a system of equations, because math is just a series of steps, okay? And so the first thing we need to do is decide whether we want to use the top or bottom equation. Hopefully you can see that the bottom equation is a whole lot easier than the top, just because we don't have to deal with coefficients, which are numbers in front of the x's and the y's. All right, so then I get to decide whether I want to solve for x or y. So when I see this minus y, I know I could add y to the other side very easily. So I'm going to go ahead and use x as my variable that I'm going to solve for. So to get x by itself, I need to add y to both sides, and that leaves me with x equals y plus 13. Okay, or you could say 13 plus y, but I can't combine those because they're not like terms. Then from here, I already know that x is equal to this, so I can take it and plug it into the top equation. That gives me 4, and instead of writing an x, I'm going to write y plus 13 because that's what x is. Then I have plus 2y equals 10. Now from here, I'm going to distribute the 4. I get 4y is equal to, or no, not equal to, 4y plus 4 times 13. I don't have a calculator here, so that would be 12. Carry the one, that would be 52. Plus 2y equals 10. Now, on the left side, the 4y plus 52 plus 2y, these are all on the left side. So I need to combine those because those are like terms. I don't add them, subtract them to each other because they're on the same side as the equal sign. So I just combine them. And that gives me 6y. Then I still have the 52 is equal to 10. I feel like I did something wrong here. We'll see though. Then I'm going to go ahead and minus 52. Oh no, I see now. 6y is equal to negative 42. Then I'm going to divide by 6, and I get y is equal to negative 7. Then I take this negative 7, and I plug it into the equation that I solved for x in. So x is equal to negative 7 plus 13, which is positive 8. No, it's not. 6. All right, so then my final answer is 6, negative 7. Hopefully this is getting easier. And hopefully you're having as much fun as I am. Just so you know, it is 9:09. I'm sitting in bed doing this video just for you guys while I'm eating Tootsie Rolls. And it's amazing. I actually really love system of equations. So I hope that you are enjoying this too. Let's just do a few more and then we'll give you time to work on your homework and do a little game. Okay? So let's do number 5. And let's do 7x plus 2y is equal to negative 19. And negative x plus 2y is equal to 21. Okay, so now it's getting a little bit trickier. Which variable do we choose? Which equation do we choose? Now, technically, you can choose whatever you want, but if I were you, I would try and stay away from fractions because fractions, you're going to have some simple mistakes or you're going to get confused. And so you want to pick a variable that doesn't have a coefficient number in front of it in any case that you can. And so the variable I want to solve for on this one is x. So to get x by itself, my first step is to minus 2y from both sides. I get negative x is equal to, that makes 0. So I have negative 2y plus 21. I can't add those together because they're not like terms. Then from here, I have to get rid of the negative. So to get rid of a negative, I can either multiply both sides by a negative 1 or just divide both sides by a negative 1. So I'm just going to divide because that cancels out and leaves me with x on that side. And then remember, when you're dividing, this negative 1 has to be divided to both of these terms. So that leaves me with a positive 2y minus 21. Now, this is what x equals. So I can take this and I can plug it into my top equation for x. I can't plug it into the bottom one. I have to use the top one because I already worked with the bottom one to get this. So if I plugged it back into the bottom, it wouldn't make any sense because I wouldn't be using the top one. And it's a system of 2 equations, so I have to use both. So now I'm going to plug it in. So 7, and instead of writing x, I'm going to write 2y minus 21 because that's what x is, plus 2y is equal to negative 19. From here, I'm going to distribute the 7. 14y minus, let's see, that'll be 14, that'll be 7, so 147 plus 2y equals negative 19. Now, I have y's on the same side as the equal sign, so I'm going to combine those to get 16y. Minus 147 equals negative 19. Then I add the 147. That makes 0. So it's 16y is equal to 128. Divide both sides by 16. Y equals 8. Now I take this and I plug it into that y, and I have 2 times 8 minus 21, which is 16 minus 21, and so x equals -5. So my final answer is -5, 8. Okay, so pause it if you need to finish this one off. If someone here in class is understanding how to do this, make sure that you are helping the people around you. Hopefully it's getting easier for everybody. So what we're going to do for this last problem is we are going to, I'm going to give you a problem to do. Do it on your own. And then I want you to raise your hand when you have the answer, and I will give the sub the answer on a sticky note so that he or she can come and check you off, okay? So number 7, I want you guys to do this one on your own. 4x plus y is equal to 2, and x minus y is equal to 3. Now you can solve for whichever variable you want in whichever equation, and I will just tell you that this solving for this y would be easy, solving for this x would be easy, solving for this y would be okay. So I would recommend choosing one of those to solve for and then making sure that you plug in what you get into the opposite equation. Okay? So do this problem, make sure that everybody understands it, and then you'll have time to work on your homework and the activity that goes along with this so you guys can have some more practice. All right? Be good. Make sure to use class time wisely, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.